Welcome back to the Beats Motel. We do have a vacancy, so please check in, sit down, and relax. So this is take number 2, because take number 1, reviewed it, was crap, to put it nicely. So I'm sure you're wondering why I have my little bobblehead here. If you read the title, or not bobblehead, but my little figure here, I'm sure if you read the title, you know what this is about. This is a review of the 2018 Halloween novelization. We're going to do a little bit of back history, though, first, because, as you can tell, I absolutely love anything and everything horror, especially Halloween and Friday the 13th. Those are my 2 favorite ones. Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street are up there, but those are my 2 favorite. So, just kind of a little backstory. So, you have the original, the classic, the one and only Halloween. This came out in the 70s. What was it? I believe 78. And 78. Someone's gonna go in the comments and say, "You didn't know that?" Hey, when you watch as many horror movies, try to remember every single date, it gets hard. But so, quick overview of this is essentially you have what is described as pure evil in the shape of human escapes, goes on a killing spree on Halloween night. There's a lot more into that, but for that I'd have to do a movie review or movie series review, and this is about books. If you do want to deep dive into this series, let me know. I'd be more than happy, even if it's not October and it's after, be more than happy to talk anything horror on this channel. So you have this, which spawned all these sequels here, okay? I'm talking Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all these other ones. Side note, if you do not have these, I highly recommend you get them. These are amazing. But essentially, you start off, like I said, Halloween 78, original, the OG. Probably the best first movie in a horror series of all time. Easily in the argument for one of the best, if not the best. But essentially, so what happened was you had all these different remakes that have come out, or continuations, and it's complicated. It's like, I'm not a Star Wars fan, no offense. I've seen the original trilogy once, and I have nothing against it. It's just not my cup of tea. But so there's different ways to watch that series, and that's essentially this. So essentially what happened was you had Danny McBride and David Gordon Green come to Blumhouse and say, "Hey, you want to make a lot of money? Let's redo Halloween." And Blumhouse said okay, and essentially what they said was, "Well, how are you gonna do it?" And I'm just paraphrasing here and guessing this is kind of how it went. Danny McBride and David Gordon Green said, "You know what? You know all those other ones that came out after the original? I'm talking Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection," which, holy crap. I'm going to do a video eventually on that movie one of these days, even on this channel. But they said, let's just get rid of all these. Just chunk them out. They're obsolete. They have no continuation. They have nothing to do with what we want to do. So essentially what they said was, we will take this and we will continue from this. We're going to get rid of, sorry, spoiler alert, this movie's 5 years old at this point. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to. But essentially what they said was, hey, that storyline that continues over into part 2 where, it ends up Laurie's Michael's sister, let's get rid of that. Okay, I can buy that. Let's, while we're at it, let's make it a little bit more modern. Which, okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that. So essentially, and that's where Halloween 2018 starts. So essentially what happens is, it's 40 years later. Michael has been incarcerated. You start off in this book with some true crime podcasters, which I honestly think was a great way to start off, because what's bigger in 2023? I mean, really, podcasts are just huge now. Between Joe Rogan, I mean, that's the biggest one that comes to mind. I have some favorites myself, but that's the bigger one that comes to mind right now. One of the biggest podcasts out there. Podcasts seem to be the new thing. I mean, YouTube, it's big still, but podcasts has become the new big thing. So started off on that tangent. But essentially what happens is you have these podcasters who somehow get access to go to where Michael Myers is, this sanatorium, whatever you want to call it, mental health facility, whatever you want to call it, prison, whatever it is you want to call it. Essentially, they go, and it starts off with them going and finding out, and you kind of get a little bit of back history about this doctor, who was Dr. Loomis's, prodigy. He studied under him. He'd come, every aspect of the Michael Myers case he requested. Anyways, so they go, and you get this scene in the book, and the book and the movie they're like that much difference, if that. The book is a little bit more serious, while the movie takes a couple jokes in there, and I don't want to blame it on Danny McBride, because I love Danny McBride, Eastbound and Down, Tropic Thunder, just about everything he's been in, and I feel like they get the comedy in the movie, and again, I'm trying to review the book here, but you can't talk about the book and not the movie. The comedy in the movie, there is one scene that I feel like I could have done without, and it's in the book, and it's talking about, I forget the dad's name. I read this book when I was on my cruise back in September with my wife and my family. Peanut butter and something, and I could have done without that in the book. I will say that starting off. There is a comedic spot in the movie that I absolutely love. I laughed at the movie theater. Will always laugh at it. People say, well, it takes me out of the movie. You can't like that in a horror movie. Sue me. I enjoy one good joke. So I want to start off by saying I don't put the comedic, if you don't like comedy in your horror movies, probably I would definitely recommend going with the book versus the movie. But I just want to defend Danny McBride, because I feel like he gets the blunt end of, oh, well, there's some comedy in here. Look, you had David Gordon Green, you had Blumhouse. In every Blumhouse horror movie, there's been 1, 2, maybe 3 comedic segments or spots. That's just how it is now. You can't have super seriousness. Unfortunately, in today's society, just can't. You have to have something in there to kind of give people a little bit of a break. But essentially, again, these podcasters go. There's a scene in the book, and it's intense, where essentially they pull the Myers mask out, and he just starts shouting at Michael to say something, and it's really intense in the book. I'm trying to go light spoiler on this, but as you continue on, you see, Lori and how she's dealing with this, 40 years later, this one night that has, terrorized her, that has essentially spiraled her. Unfortunately, she does not have a good relationship with her daughter, with her granddaughter, with anybody. This town especially. The town kind of treats her like a leper, if you will. And I will say, if you've seen The Fog with Jamie Lee Curtis, you'll get that reference. I hope if you have not seen The Fog, go watch it. But essentially, they just treat her like a leper. They just kind of, she keeps her distance. She's just training, waiting for Michael to escape. She knows it's going to happen. And so, this book is kind of a culmination of that, the first part of this book. So essentially what happens is Michael escapes, and he goes on this killing spree. I will say the book, in my opinion, this is where the book does justice, because in the movie you do get some gory scenes, not overly gory, but you do get some scenes where you can tell, they're dead. But the book is a little bit more descriptive, and I like that, because in my mind, and while reading this book, I could picture it a little bit worse than what they did in the movie, and I really enjoyed that part. Again, the book was a little bit more serious than the movie, which was really nice. If you didn't like the comedic aspect of the movie, I would definitely recommend picking up the book. I bought it when it was on sale for like $2 or $3. I know a while ago they were on, a month ago, all 3 books were on sale for like $2 or $3. And I'm going to skip ahead to my review. Would I recommend picking this up? Yes, highly recommend it. I am a huge Halloween fan, always have been, always will be. Resurrection aside, but I think I might be warming up to that, but that's for a different video. But again, and you get to this part and you get to the end, again, it's more descriptive, and you get to the part, I will say Cameron, the part of Cameron in the book, in the movie, especially in the book, like I get, we have a little different, we can't just have her be, exactly like Lori, how she was in the movie. The part of Cameron, I I don't know, it didn't click with me in the book. In the movie, but in the book, for whatever reason, it really didn't click with me. I feel like I could have done without him. Now, as you get to the end of you get the chase, and you find out there's a twist or two in this and all that, and you get to the end. I will say the ending, sorry, I just have to cover this. I'm gonna move this over here. The ending, while it was good, I feel like they kind of backed themselves into a corner. Retrospect, looking back over, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, I feel like they kind of backed themselves into a corner with this book and Halloween Kills. I have not read the novelization of Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends yet. I'm planning on it. I'm going to try to read that next year. Probably won't wait for October. But anyways, I feel like they kind of backed themselves into a corner, which does lead to a great scene in Halloween Kills at the end of this book. But I feel like that was the way they set it up, kind of backed themselves into a corner, which kind of dings it a little bit for me, in this. Again, because the book and the movie are just, again, they're that much different. That kind of dings it for me a little bit. I mean, obviously I know it's a novelization of it, but I have heard, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, the novelization does veer a little bit. You have the movie here like this. The books do kind of take a little turn and add some more in there, and I would have liked to have seen that with Halloween 2018. I would have liked to have seen, an extra kill in there. Excuse me. If you could tell, we don't do any cuts or anything. We just go with the flow in this. Again, I would have liked to have seen a couple changes in the novelization just to make it a little different. That's the thing. When you read a novelization, I understand, it's going to be pretty much exactly like the movie. But I also would like, if I'm an author and I feel like, hey, you know what, if Michael was going from here to here, I feel like I could have, like, there's a scene, and this is going to be a spoiler. There's a scene where Cameron's creepy friend tries to kiss, and I cannot for the life of me remember what her name is. And she goes no and leaves, and it's this scene where they're in, I think it's Mr. Elrod, I could be wrong, but they're in someone's backyard. And if I'm wrong, please correct me down in the comments. Be nice about it, if you will. But the sensor light goes off, and he sees someone. He thinks it's the homeowner. Light goes off. Michael gets a little closer. Hey, I'm leaving, kind of thing. And then it ends with Michael killing him and him kind of chasing. I would have liked to seen, and this is me personally, this is just something I would have liked to throw in. It's a little nitpick. I would have liked to have seen that neighbor come out and hey, what are you kids doing? And he looks and he sees and he thinks it's a Halloween joke, and he kind of walks up and he doesn't see the face, and so he assumes it's a Halloween, joke. Obviously, being in this town, Halloween, the people in this town, at least the kids, seem to be a little bit more ruthless. At least, and it's like in the movies. I would have liked to have seen, hey, what are you doing? And Michael turn around, and the neighbor, being older, realizes, oh crap, it's Michael. Like, that is not a Halloween. I would have liked to have seen like an extra kill in there, just something to kind of be like, whoa, that wasn't in the movie. Kind of just throw something in there. Give me something that I was not expecting. I'm not complaining about the book. I enjoyed it. I just would have liked to have seen something like that. Then Michael goes back to chasing, and I feel like that would have filled in a time gap a little better. Again, the pacing of this book, it's good. I mean, it's like the movie. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen 1 or 2 more kills personally, and I could say the same for the movie. But again, I just would have liked to have seen something a little different thrown in there. In the comments, let me know if you feel the same, or if you think there was a scene, a transition scene that you think would work a little better, whether in the movie or in the book. Again, eventually I would love to talk about all things horror on this channel, even movies, throw that in, every now and then. But again, the ending, when they get to the ending, it's at Laurie's house, and you have the final showdown. I remember in the movie theater when I was watching this movie, like, it's good, and then there's a scene where Michael throws Laurie out, and he looks down, and it's like the original end of Halloween 78, where he's not there, and he kind of goes back to walking through the house. That I did enjoy. I enjoyed the Easter eggs in this movie quite a bit, the few that were in there. Again, You know, would I like to have seen a couple things changed in the book? Yeah, I definitely would have. I mean, I could have done without the peanut butter joke personally. I think the one thing that they could have thrown in there, and there was a scene that made me laugh when I saw this in the movies, was when the babysitter, you know, puts the kid to bed and he comes back downstairs and goes, "Hey, there's someone up in my room." And she goes up there, and you know, and it ends up in Michael's there, and he goes, and I don't remember what the kid says exactly, but I just remember it made me laugh in the theater. I would have preferred to see that scene in there versus, you know, the peanut butter joke. Personally, I think that made me laugh more, and I think the peanut butter joke made me laugh. Again, I would have liked to have seen that in there. That's another thing I would have liked to change, is just having that changed a little bit. Sorry, I gotta get some coffee. But again, it was a good book. I would recommend it. Highly recommend it. I would rate it between a scale of 1 to 5. I would rate it at 3. Again, it's good. It's not on the par of, you know, the original, or you know, a couple others that are in the series as far as the movies go. And that's the thing with this book. You can't talk about the book and not talk about the movie, because they're like that. I mean, there's just a slight bit different change. But again, anything Michael Myers wise, I'm gonna watch. I do love my little Michael Myers candy holder here. Like I said, that was sidetracked there. I would definitely recommend picking it up. If you were kind of on the fence about watching the movie or reading the book, I would definitely recommend. If you want something a little bit more serious and something you can kind of do a little bit more changing in your head as far as what you visualize, I would definitely recommend reading it. And I'm picking up my Kindle because that's what I read it on. Eventually, I would like to get them in paperback. I have them on my Kindle, so I'm not gonna go buy that and double dip. I do double dip on some books. But if I find the books on sale in physical format, I'll buy them. But I have them on my Kindle, so I'm fine with waiting until I find them on sale. If you want something a little bit more serious, not really any jokes aside from that one joke, and don't let that one joke keep you from reading the book or watching the movie, I would recommend picking up the book. If you want something that's got another comedic aspect, watch the movie. I would definitely recommend that. Like I said, I would highly recommend picking this up. I rated it a 3 out of 5, which is not good. It's not bad. I can't wait to read the next 2 in the series and kind of see where they change a little bit. But again, like I said, this is my review for Halloween 2018 novelization. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Comment in the bottom what you're reading. If you have any thoughts or anything on the book or the movie, definitely comment, or even in the movie series, comment in the description below or the comments. I would definitely love to talk about this series more. I feel like it's more of a pop culture thing now since those movies have come out. I feel like it's dipped down quite a bit since Halloween Ends came out. I will eventually do a review on that movie all by itself when I do the book review as well. Again, this is the Beats Motel. Thank you for checking in. I hope you had a nice stay. I will be back with another video here real quickly. Thank you.